The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom, natural, holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have actually released 70 pounds, had a health transformation, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have, and I have staying power. And it's actually been over 11 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51, when I never ran from childhood to adulthood due to foot pain, and I actually done 8 half marathons. Mindset is a key for lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing health, releasing weight efficiently if needed, and enhancing your mindset. With my mindset coaching, I help my clients recognize that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions drive their actions and results. Sometimes good and sometimes bad. That's why it's crucial to have a positive mindset in life to succeed. It's also imperative to manage your emotions and release those low vibrational emotions such as fear, frustration, and doubt, because all they're going to do is slow you down and get you stuck physically, emotionally, spiritually, as well as mentally, and also will cause stress. Like a hot air balloon that has ballasts, I help my clients release those emotional ballasts as baggage so they can uplift to a better, healthier life. And in turn, they are releasing their stress, managing emotions, and reshaping their core beliefs. You'll see and feel the differences with my coaching programs. Set up a complimentary consultation to ask me about them at my link tree at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChanges. LIV as in victory, es.com/linktree, LINKTREE. And I'll guide you to that better, happier, healthier life with natural solutions for mind, body, and soul. Today, I'm really excited to have Dr. Laura Dennison, a naturopathic doctor, because I actually work with her with clients. And she is a master herbalist, a certified iridologist, a certified nutritional consultant, and a master formulator. She empowers women and their families by providing knowledge to holistic health with mind, body, and spirit. Dr. Laura and Sam Dennison co-founded a nutritional company called Stay Natural. With Dr. Laura's extensive experience in the herbal industry, she formulated the majority of the line. Stay Natural is a leader in herbal supplementation as well as has patents and trademarks. It's been in business for over 20 years and joined the Longevity family as beloved brand in 2015. She even has her own show called Let's Talk Products on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. Today, we'll be discussing how stress and hormones affect our bodies. So let's welcome Dr. Laura Dennison, a naturopathic doctor, a master herbalist, and also a master formulator, and so much more. Back to my show. So, Dr. Laura Dennison, welcome to my show.
Oh, I'm so glad to be back with you, Debbie, and you're just doing amazing things. And I see it, and I just wanted to recognize how well you're doing and helping so many people. I see it all over social media in your runner chats and all the things that you do. And so you're just such a blessing for so many people.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. So let's get to the topic. So what happens when our bodies are under stress?
Oh, what doesn't happen when our bodies are under stress? And here's the thing is a lot of people don't realize that stress affects every part of the body. Okay.
Yes.
And we're going to dive more into hormones and what it does for hormones. But you guys, acute stress is okay. Okay. That means like you heard a phone call, you got some bad news and it causes the stress response in the body, which creates this fight or flight response, which is elevated cortisol. And that's our protection mechanism. Okay. Our protectional hormone that helps us to go through stress. But when we have chronic stress, that's whenever it goes into deep problems, anxiety, depression, are just a couple of the things. Autoimmune conditions. And most flare-ups with an autoimmune condition is caused by stress. And so people that have an autoimmune condition like lupus, RA, when they're not handling their stress, then it causes them to have more symptoms of their illness. And so it causes, besides, an immediate, when we have that stress, we have elevated heart rate, which then can cause, high blood pressure, that can cause cardiovascular disease. I mean, every part of stress is not good for the body. Okay. But how can we, there's no way we can get away from it. I mean, it is, part of life. I mean, you can turn on the TV and here's something on there and it can trigger an emotion. And I love Debbie talked about that you work through people's emotions because, sometimes the stress level that we have will take us back to a memory or, a stressful, situation with a certain individual. And then it just starts that whole cycle of chronic stress. And so freeing up your body to not to be able to handle stress is very important. Another thing that is that happens immediately is our liver, when you have stress, okay, your liver immediately sends blood sugar through the bloodstream. So chronic stress can even cause type 2 diabetes. I mean, and people think that it's just their diet that is causing it, but it's actually how they're handling their emotions. And of course, we'll go into the solutions at the end, but, that is, it's very harmful to the system and it causes, many diseases. And it really causes a hormone imbalance. And I know, I love talking about hormones because I physically went through, complete hysterectomy at age 27. So it was very important for me to understand my hormone health. Okay. And I think that's helps me to be a testament because, it affects all hormones, and not only, we think about, our female hormones, okay, estrogen, progesterone, which estrogen, and I'll just talk quickly on the hormone aspect of it, but estrogen is, when your liver is producing too much blood sugar, okay, then it can actually affect how your estrogen is, being made, and actually it can boost too much estrogen, make too much stress or it can deplete it, okay, which is necessary for women. Testosterone, same thing for men, and a lot of men, okay, will have a testosterone deficiency because of their stress load. So it actually will cause, problems with men on their performance level or, even reproduction because they have low testosterone can be affected because of the levels of stress in their life. Okay. And so it's very important to understand that it affects so many hormones in the body. And so I'm excited to be able to talk to you guys about that today.
Yeah, I know that, it does slow down our body systems, and that's what stress is doing. Isn't it kind of adding like an extra layer of inflammation in a way because of all the stress?
Oh, absolutely. And you guys, and inflammation is the start of every chronic disease. I mean, we talked about blood pressure. Okay. Blood pressure is a form of inflammation. And, when we have that layer of inflammation, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because when you have that layer of inflammation, it's hard for the cells, okay, to get these chemical messengers, these hormones, get the right connection. And so like inflammation, even brain health, stress causes a lot of the brain cells to become non-existent. And so then it causes a memory fog, and it leads to other levels of inflammation, even with, brain health. And so it is very important to understand that it causes several levels of inflammation in the body.
Yeah. And then there's a brain gut connection too, that causes issues as well. Now, what happens when we have elevated cortisol?
Okay, so cortisol, you guys, is a hormone. Okay, and it's a very important hormone in our body because it's our fight or flight hormone. And in the Paleolithic days, okay, back in our ancestors, cortisol was very important because it protected them, because it gave them that spout of energy to run from a predator. Okay, that's how cortisol was normally designed in our bodies, that fight or flight hormone, and our bodies makes it. And whenever we have something stressful happen, it releases it. The adrenal glands releases it in through the bloodstream. The problem with cortisol is, if you get too much, then it can cause a whole host of other issues. And that's where being able to handle stress. And, we talked about emotions, and I know we work through a lot of people's emotions, but I want you to think about this. If you're joining the show today, I want you to think about this. If you are waking up and you're exhausted, or if you're waking up and just the littlest thing bothers you, okay, you're making too much cortisol in your body. You already have too much cortisol to even start the day. Exercising with struggling to exercise, like you have this level of fatigue, your body already has too much cortisol. And so there's ways to solve that, but making too much is very harmful for the body. Now, what you see a lot is a lot of people talk about, this hormone, of course, and they talk about, the abdominal fat, okay, not being able to lose the abdominal fat. Well, when you're stressed and you have this elevated levels of cortisol, okay, it doesn't matter how well you eat, you're not going to lose it because you have too much inflammation, like Debbie said, but also too much of this cortisol. But what's most harming to it is what it does throughout their whole systems. I mean, from like you said, gut health, and I think about, and here's one thing that you can think about on gut health is, when you're going over that roller coaster and you're coming down and you lose your stomach. Okay. Yeah. Stress does that. Okay. That fear, stress. And so when you have those emotions and you have it constantly, okay, you're destroying your healthy microbiome, everything that you need for digestion, for breaking down your carbohydrates, your fats, your proteins, making those amino acids, building your immune system. Our immune system is harbored, throughout our whole microbiome, but, specifically in our gut. And so this chronic stress, you're destroying healthy bacteria, and you're destroying, healthy cells because of your chronic stress. And so elevated cortisol is very harmful. And there's two hormones, and that when you have these both out of check is whenever you really have constant weight gain, constant memory fog, and you're going to have a chronic disease if you have elevated cortisol and elevated insulin. Those two, because like I said, when immediately you have that stress, your liver immediately releases glucose, blood sugar into the bloodstream. Okay. Insulin is a hormone. Okay. And it's only released whenever the body says, because it's a storage hormone, and it's released into the body when the body needs it. Okay.
Yes.
But when we overeat or we eat the wrong things, then it becomes, your body becomes insulin resistant. But cortisol and stress plays a big part of that. And so type 2 diabetes can be caused in the beginning from chronic stress, because when your liver's releasing too much blood sugar into the bloodstream, then the insulin, the hormone, doesn't know whether to make it, whether to send more. And then it becomes, because hormones are what sits on these brain messengers, okay, these chemical messengers, and in so many different things. Our metabolism is responsible from hormones, homeostasis from like our blood, like our body temperature, our blood pressure, like we talked about. All of these, are derivative from hormone actions, okay? And so when our cells, they sort of have like these lock and keys, and a hormone will actually, fall onto the cell, and if it fits perfectly, then it sends an action to whatever organ or whatever thing it's supposed to do. And so those hormones are so important to have them working effectively. Insulin, if it's not working effectively, is whenever you can get elevated blood sugar. Okay. Elevated blood sugar then can go into fluid retention, can go into kidney disruption, can go into elevated blood pressure and diabetes. Cardiovascular, it goes into, they all, talk to each other. So what is the root problem? Okay. If you're eating healthy, but you're still having elevated blood sugar, maybe you're under undue stress that you need to get control of that hormone. And so cortisol and insulin, they work together, even though they're supposed to do opposite things. One is a storage, which is insulin, and cortisol is supposed to be your energy, giving you that kick of energy when you go through that period of stress. And but whenever they're both elevated, then they become, and they almost come together, and all of a sudden they say, you know what, we're going to make a lot of fat. We're going to cause problems, in the heart. We're going to cause problems, with fluid retention, and, it can become a mess. Wow.
So it's almost like the liver is reacting in survival mode when it does that initially, and then it becomes this big, huge catastrophe of a mess, like you said. Am I right?
Absolutely. The liver is in, and I do a lot of traditional Chinese medicine. And so I focus on the liver, because the liver is the organ that most people forget about, but it's the organ that does beautiful things. And so, releasing blood sugar is just one of the things that it does. Okay. It also stores healthy fats, which helps your estrogen. And, it's really great for hormones. It works for detoxification. It's one of your largest detoxification organs, but then it also converts nutrients. Okay. So that's another thing that, when you're under due stress, one, you're depleting your nutrients, you're depleting your vitamins, you're depleting minerals, you're not absorbing correctly. And so it just, it's not good. And the thing is I bet almost everybody that's watching this show has went through a stressful situation, and maybe you're one of those that can't dig out right now. And so we're going to help you be able to do that.
That's wonderful. One thing I noticed that when that liver problems can also create back pain too. So something to pay attention to, because I learned that with my acupressure class.
That's really good. I love that you learned how to do that. You guys, Debi is on fire. She is doing so many great things. And so she's a wonderful health coach for you. We always, when I start at the liver on everything, because like I said, it is the wheelhouse. It is the forgotten organ that is in charge of almost everything in the body. Okay. We think about our heart. We only have one heart, right? Okay. And so we're so worried about that. But the liver can regenerate itself. So, starting with because the stagnant liver will cause all these disruptions. Okay. And hormones is one of those, and handling stress is one of those. and it's so important to have a good functioning liver. Well, a lot of people are being diagnosed with fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's been a trend. And I can tell you that it's something that you eat that's causing it, and it's sugar. And so, that's going to be a solution. But you guys, your liver can regenerate, rebuild. I mean, you can do things, to really facilitate a healthy liver and get started there. We have different liver cleanses that we lean to, sometimes if a person's really struggling, it's sort of like a reset button. You get to reset that and just really start absorbing, making, manufacturing, because that's what the liver does. It's a workhorse for the body.
It certainly is. Now, we've covered a lot of information about hormones, but I believe you covered all of this, but I'm going to ask anyways if there's any additional information. How does hormones play into stress?
Okay, so hormones are, like I said, hormones are those chemical messengers. Okay. And so when you're out of balance, then say you're deficient in, let's say, testosterone. Okay. And you're deficient in testosterone for men. Well, here's what testosterone is responsible for. It's responsible for moods. It's responsible for energy. It's responsible for sexual performance. It's responsible for being non-complacent. Okay. Because we get into this, I don't feel like doing anything, that is a testosterone deficiency. And it happens with men and women. And stress is the biggest culprit to make that a deficiency. Okay. And so when we're talking about stress, that's just one hormone. There's over, 50 some hormones in the body that are all responsible for something different in the body. Okay. And when your body requires it, just like, leptin, okay, is needed to tell the brain, that you're full. Okay. And ghrelin is another, to say, I'm hungry. And so, all these hormones, when you're under in there's a difference between acute stress and chronic. Okay.
Yeah.
And so acute stress is the normal stress that we go through. Okay. But we still get up and we still feel good and we're still going to slay the day. And by the end of the day, we might be tired, but that's normal. But when you wake up tired and you wake up feeling, I just, am going to muddle through the day, then we need to have a conversation about that stress because, there's so many different things that you can do to be able to, to alleviate that. But stress causes so much things and it destroys hormones. It destroys those chemical, messengers that we need, okay, to help the body function. And, and then it goes into like your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland and your pineal gland, all those, release different hormones, exhausting your adrenals because that's where cortisol is released. If you're under, now you're under an adrenal, metabolic syndrome. Okay.
Right.
You can't get that energy. It doesn't matter what you eat, what you do. And it's so hard to exercise, and it's because you're under chronic stress, which leads into several conditions.
So it triggers if you are all of a sudden emotionally imbalanced, and I don't mean in a really way, just say you have all these emotions happening that you've never had before, then you're having some, stressful adrenal problems, and you need to pay attention to that warning sign, right?
Absolutely. And I always say, take an inventory, of besides your diet. Okay. But what caused you to just feel the way that you do? Okay. If you're just trying to get through the day, what is it that has happened in your life that you need to address? And that's where those emotions and being able to work through that, because, the longer you not talk to someone or the longer you ignore and just think that, I was diagnosed with depression or I was diagnosed with anxiety, there's answers. And, and a lot of it has to do with how we feel. And it's a deficiency and it goes right into the hormones and it goes right into whatever happened that was stressful for you.
Very true. Very true. And then we talked about a few things about how to manage and improve hormone health, but there's a lot more you can probably discuss. So is there something you want to share
Yes.
more?
Yes. This is what I get really excited about because, I'm working with a client and I'll just, she doesn't mind me talking, but she went through a divorce. She went through a big struggle. I mean, and it really caused her health to she had gut issues. She had pain in her foot. Okay. And she's a runner like you. And so she had all these things. And so we had to really dissect, different things that we needed to make sure that she was doing. You almost need like a checklist. Okay.
Yeah.
The very first thing that you need to have a checklist which is a solution, is sleep. How are you sleeping? Okay.
Yes.
Because sleep here's what disrupts sleep. Okay. If you're sleep deprived, and that means that you're waking up at 2 and then you can't go back to sleep till, 3 or 4, and then you might sleep a couple hours and you have to get up because the alarm's going off. That is being sleep deprived. You're in a period of insomnia. Okay. Which is an imbalance of hormones. But one of the biggest hormones is you have too much cortisol, because cortisol is made at night. Okay. When you're not making the right amount, then you already have a too high of a level when you wake up. Okay. So sleep is important. It also affects blood sugar. Sleep is important. A lot of times people's blood sugar will be high when they wake up because they didn't sleep well. Okay. It also affects blood sugar. It affects your blood pressure. It affects your thyroid. The thyroid hormones depend on sleep. And so, this is all, so, cortisol, it elevates insulin. It also disrupts the leptin, which is your, decreases the appetite, your ghrelin, which increases the leptin. And so it imbalances those. And so that affects, of course, weight loss, which is, important. So, sometimes we need assistance with sleep. And thank goodness Debbie and I are, partnered with a company that has, a great plant-based melatonin, but it also has other ingredients that helps for a restful sleep. And so sleep is very important. There's a lot of things that you can do leading up to sleep. No bright lights, because that stops the making of melatonin. Take a hot shower before you go to bed, and then just cool off naturally. Okay. That's another thing that allows our body to get prepared for a good night's rest. Don't have any devices in your room. The electromagnetic really affects, sleep. And you guys, sleep is critical. And I had a gal one time, and she bragged because she goes, I only have to have 4 hours of sleep. And I said, you're going to have a burnout at one point, because, she was waking up at the gym, because the only time she could do the gym was whenever, at 4 o'clock in the morning. And because she worked from 6, they own their own business. They work from 6 till, 8 o'clock at night, and so they were on the go all the time. So she was only getting 4 to 6 hours, and she got really sick. And so she had to change her lifestyle. She understood how important sleep is. So sleep is number 1. Diet is number 2. You guys, you cannot discount the importance of what we put in. You need to start reading labels. You guys, I'm so thankful that more hidden ingredients like the dyes and different things is now becoming more prevalent. But here's the worst thing that you can ever put in your mouth is sugar. Sugar is harmful especially whenever it comes to hormones, and whenever it comes to cortisol, stress. Sugar is a feeder of bad habits. And so, and there's so many different alternatives. And Debbie, she is a holistic health coach. She's lost 70 pounds. She knows all the alternatives. So you need to reach out to her if you have a problem, because, it taxes the liver. We talked about that. It leads to insulin resistance, which, you need your insulin working well, and you need your cortisol. Like I said, those two, one is the energy, one is the storage, but if they're not working, then you're in trouble. high fructose corn syrup, fructose is a natural occurring sugar in fruit. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can get too much of that. I mean, you don't want to do fruit juices or anything like that. That's too much sugar. That's awful.
Yes.
You want to lean more towards berries and different things like that. But when they made high fructose corn syrup, because it could be so much sweeter, and they put it in all the packaging, now we have our kids that are addicted, okay, to that. And so that's a problem. And so sugar diet, we also have what's called the 10 bad foods list, which, Debi is got that list. Make sure you reach out to her, because here's the thing with, high complex carbs, okay, they turn into sugar, okay.
Yes, they do.
Now here's the thing is, and here's the debate, over in Japan, they don't have obesity rates, very little, and when, of course, they got McDonald's, now you see, the Asians, having a weight problem. And so that goes back to the processed food, but, they live on rice. Okay. So rice is a carbohydrate. Okay. And so there is a big debate, but see that your body, when you're not putting any sugar, because they don't do sugar, they don't do simple sugars. Their body is able to withstand that, but they're active. They do so much other things. Okay. Yeah. And they eat for their body, like lean fish and different things. So it all is a combination. So sugar is the number one thing, but, complex carbs, simple, doing a low carbohydrate diet, is, and I don't like to say diet a lot, just a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And then,
that's the way you eat.
And, you guys, it does matter. I mean, you can't, you cannot, and once you give up sugar, you'll never crave it. I mean, it's just something that, we were taught when we were young that you had dinner and then you had a dessert after dinner. You guys, that was the worst thing we could do, was to eat a meal. Okay. And we were satisfied. And then we added sugar to the meal. And so that's where, things started going wrong. And our ancestors, they didn't do sugar. Okay. And then the next is to replace the deficiencies. I cannot stress. That's a funny word. I cannot stress. Okay.
Yes.
Right. But stress causes deficiencies of nutrition. And, your body, besides, we've talked about healthy bacteria, but, so probiotics comes into play, but we're talking about B vitamins, your vitamin D, zinc. Zinc is your happy hormone, and it really facilitates happy hormones. It depletes that. Iodine, your electrolytes, potassium, all of these get depleted when you're under chronic stress. Okay. Yes. So we have to supplement. And like I said, we have the best supplements on the market, but we have some products, if you're listening, if you want to write these down, that I'm a big fan of replacing. One is called De-Stress, which is a product, but it's full of the B vitamins that is really wonderful. We have a product called Beyond Tangy Tangerine that, and these are all products that Debi's going to get you, hooked up with, because the longer you go without supplementation and chronic stress, the more you're going to lead into having a serious condition that we really got to worry about. The blood sugar support product called Sweet Ease really helps. A product called Eat Less, which I formulated, also helps, with the digestion. And a product called Hope, which is a blood purifier, the liver that we were talking about. These are a good, start, to help you on, some of the things. And, we have, upgraded versions of some of these products too, like the Rise and Restore. So, too. And so you get with Debi on that. And then the last thing I want to, is that helps, solutions to elevated cortisol and stress, is you have to do things, you have to look at your environment. Like I said, I love when I talk to a client, because we take an inventory. I mean, you have to really find out, are they, is their job, associated with a lot of pesticides? Is there, is their environment, causing, additional stress? What do they need to clean and get rid of toxins? Another thing is exercise. I love that you're a runner.
Yeah,
And
it helps me so much.
and you started running later in life. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
51, yes.
And so, so everybody out there, you guys, there's hope for that. And so, but because you don't want to stress your body right off the bat, because heavy exercise is not good when you're under due stress. Even do nature walks, getting out in nature, getting out in the sunlight, water therapy, going swimming, that is all beautiful things that's going to help you. Massage therapy. She just learned about the acupressure. You guys, that releases stress. Rebounding, which stimulates the lymphatic system. There's all these different things. Meditation, scripture. My husband, he just had a health scare, and what helped me get through that was the meditation and in scripture and because it was a very stressful situation. But and also another thing is breath work. Learning how to breathe is something that can really help. Humming elevates your vibration. So there's a lot of natural things that you can do. The most important thing that you don't want to do is to do nothing. And and because you guys, you can live a beautiful, healthy, hormone balanced. I love to throw that in because hormones are, very important. But you don't have to live a stressful life, even though we live in a stressful world. Okay, you can actually have, all the things that you want. You can have it. I mean, I just believe that, and because you get your mindset right, and that there's things that, I wish there was an easy button that we could push, but there's not. And so there's solutions though. And so I just want you to understand that, because stress can lead into very heavy information. And
yes, it can. And I enjoy ecotherapy, obviously, because I run outside, and I love listening to birds and feeling the breezes, and being near the beach. It's really, really helpful. So that's something I really get into all the time. Now, Laura, what is your offer today?
Okay, so I have 25% off of any of my services. So you can go, and the coupon is Debi Changes Lives. And you guys, my initial consultation is a full hour. I mean, if we need to take longer than that, we do. But it also includes a wellness scan. If you have any blood work that you want to send me, and we do a whole suggested protocol. And besides the initial consultation, it also includes a 30-day follow-up that's included on the initial consultation. So you're getting 25% off, and it's less than $150. And you get, like I said, a wellness scan. You get an hour or longer, and you also get a follow-up. And then we have a suggested protocol. And the great thing is with Debi and I is if you get started on any protocol, we never leave you. Okay. You would have to leave us. Okay. Because we're going to walk with you through, because, our most important thing is to get you healthy. And so that is my offer for today.
Yeah. And we're a team doing it for you. So, and it's great to have a naturopath, be at your side as well. Instead of just a certified holistic health coach. I can help you as well. But sometimes there's things that, makes people more comfortable, with the naturopath, because they obviously are a doctor. So that's a wonderful offer, Laura. And thank you so much for being on my show. And you get that 25% coupon when you type in Debi Changes Lives, all lowercase, on her website, which is Laura Dennison, N for naturopath, D for doctor.com. So please stick around, Laura, because I'm just going to wrap up little things, and we'll be back with your closing remarks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. Remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. Yes, I can help you with your gut issues, stress reduction, and hormone as well. Anything, really. Because I'm guiding you to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. And I do talk to the naturopath often. And when with the high quality nutrient products, they're going to reduce symptoms. You'll feel better. And if you need to release weight, it'll help you release weight, and it uplifts your mood. With my mindset coaching, I help people release their emotions and stress and entanglements in the past, and they are going to feel so much better. They're actually reshaping their core beliefs at the same time. So your mindset will be more enhanced. With um, my health optimization and weight release, your body be more efficient. So that's the mind body. And guess what? Your soul will start singing when you feel so much better. So just remember that. So ask me about my programs by setting up a consultation on my link tree at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, LIV as in victory, ES.com/linktree, LINKTREE. And there you get to know me, I get to know you, and I'll guide you to your optimal health. And it starts with 1 or 2 assessments. And the first one is actually the health evaluation, where you rate your symptoms in the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions are repeated. And you will get a health score. And this health score is just giving you a baseline to improve upon. Then thank you, Patty. And then I will review it with you. When you move forward with me, I'll create that custom natural holistic strategy, and we'll monitor this on a monthly basis. And I also have 2 different Zyto body scans, and I prefer to do ZytoLink, which is now called the ZeroLink. It's still underneath the Zyto company. And what it is a link I can send to your phone. I can do it remotely and internationally. Now, the ZeroLink is a transdermal optical imaging app that I send a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It's only looking at blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. That emotion component is so important to me. And it creates a wellness report of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring it back into range. I do review it with you because it's quite intensive. It costs $75. And when you move forward with a product or a program, I give you a $25 discount on one of them. I even have a family pack of 5 scans where you can save $50. Now, the ZeroLink is that transdermal optical imaging app. It's also known, another term for it is TOI, and you can look that up at pubmed.gov. That's PUBMED.gov for its accuracy. People are really amazed what their body tells them through the scan, and you'll be too. Curious? Get your first scan done by going to that consultation button and find the ZytoLink, the ZeroLink link, and get it done. Also on that same site are my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can utilize a new version of you to drive you to success. All coaching is done on Zoom. The first one's always private to you because I go over your health analysis. I give you a choice between 2 meal plans, and I give you directions on one, and I help give you instructions how to create a new you that's going to, in an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformational goals. Now, the rest of the coachings, whether it's in group or private, we celebrate your wins, we use your boards, and I give you health and mindset tips to get over your gaps. You will become a new you. Of course, before you jump on this program, you want to contact me through my consultation, ask me questions, and you can also watch a previous episode on my show button, Holistic Self-Love, for more information. Just remember, my prices have gone up. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming and boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high quality nutrients and exercises and recipes. And you would ask me questions here. If you wanted some coaching, I have a 2 or 4 week program to get you started. If you feel like you need more coaching, you just pay as you go. With my mindset enhancement and my health optimization programs, you can start off with these smaller programs, but truly those may be a longer journey, so you might be saving more money by doing the bigger program, or I can create a custom program for you. And for a limited time, I have Debi's coaching chat, which is a 30-minute complimentary coaching session in an intimate group setting. It's not recorded. You can, and it survey picks a topic. You can learn about optimizing your health, ways to release stress, how to harmonize your hormones for body balance, efficiently releasing weight, creating a winning mindset for health and weight transformations, as well as creating a new version of you in that avatar board that drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation goals. These meetings are on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you need to be registered for it at Debi Changes Lives. That's DebiChangesLives as in Victory ES.com/chats, and you'll learn what my coaching is all about. Finally, learn more about alternative health services, programs, products, offers, articles, blogs, upcoming shows, events, and promos by subscribing to my newsletter at DebiChangesLives.com. But this time, /radio TV show, all in lowercase. And when you do that, I give you a gift for my radio audience. It's a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you can record your gratitudes, thoughts, feelings, emotions, food you ate, water you drank, nutritional supplements you took, as well as your exercise on a daily basis. And you can even track your measurements. Then what you want to do is review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins and celebrate them. Find your gaps to work on. If you need help to get over your gap, contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain that you found this show educational, enlightening, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my services, programs, products, and offers, and reach out to Dr. Laura Dennison for her services and wonderful offer of 25% off with a discount code Debi Changes Lives in lowercase on her website, Laura Dennison, ND, that's the N as in Nancy, .com. Do we have time to bring Laura back?
Hello.
And we have plenty of time.
Well, I tell you what, Debi, you offer so many great things. I mean, and the affordability. I mean, people can afford to get healthy, and that's what I love about what we do. And I love your heart and how you just sow into everyone that you just sow into their lives, and it's just amazing.
Well, you are all into your heart too. I mean, I just adore you to pieces. I mean, you have helped me and my family and my clients, and you're just amazing. Even, with the issues you've been having lately, you are doing everything you can do for others as well as yourself and your family. So kudos to you, Laura.
Thank you. I'm handling that stress. I went and walked an hour and a half today because that's what I needed was an hour and a half, and I enjoyed it. And and I'm like you. I love listening to the birds. I mean, I don't have the beach. So I'm a little bit jelly there because I love the beach. It's one of my favorite places. But I live in Oklahoma, and so I'm landlocked. But I love to do nature walks, and so it's just one of the things that helps me as well.
Well, the sound of leaves blowing in the wind is so relaxing too. Or I don't know if you walk near a river or any water sound, that's helpful. But just seeing those animals play and frolic and looking at those vivid colors of flowers and the sky, all that just brings me joy. And
it does me too. It does me too.
Yeah. So thank you for being on my show, Laura. I really appreciate it, and I will have you back. So let me just wrap things up really quickly, and we'll talk afterwards, okay?
Okay.
So continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.